work for me. Nobody will tell me how to think and how to present my thoughts. So I will not allow my colleagues here, because they are pro-government, the three of them, to determine the particular way that I should think and present my thoughts. So I am free to present my thoughts. I'm talking about the issues that we are raising here, but I'm not talking about them in their language. I cannot use their language. So that must be made very clear, because each one of them, when they come here, they say, Senator Nyutu is politicizing things. I mean, I am looking at everything from, and allow me very quickly. Senator Eddie and he had the support of, I think, Honorable Mutunga, that I should have resigned from UDA because I do not support government. I mean, I've learned from the best. President Ruto in 2018 departed from the course that they had with Uhuru Kenyatta and started fighting Uhuru Kenyatta all the way. But he did not resign as deputy president or even resign as a member of Jubilee Party, because we don't have party owners constitutionally. We have party leaders. I am part of the owners of UDA, being a member. President Ruto is not UDA. So when I criticize President Ruto, nobody has the right to tell me that I should resign from UDA because I'm not supporting President Ruto. Has Eddie moved to UDA now because he's supporting President Ruto? So you support President Ruto, the party leader, on your own volition, out of your own volition, out of your own independent thinking. It does not mean that support for President Ruto equals membership of UDA. So I'm in UDA by right, and I'll depart when I want. Just like we say where I come from, that I'll marry when I want. After all, the Catholic priest has always had no wife, and they leave. I'll marry when I want. I'll leave UDA when I want, not when Eddie tells me, not when Mutunga tells me. I needed to make that very clear. I'll do it at the... oh no, it was Eddie. Sorry, Honorable Mutunga. It was Eddie. So, let things... I will not allow them to take away my rights. But let me address your question on terrorism. And Eddie, please don't misquote me again. This matter of terrorism, we must look at the historical background on why we introduced these anti-terrorist laws. It is when terrorism started becoming a problem to us. And I think the first major terrorist attack was in 1998, the bomb, that was done in Nairobi in 1998. And that is when we woke from, we were awakened that terrorism was a threat. How was it done? A whole building extending to other buildings bombed down. Hundreds of people died. Because we must be very, very careful, in my view. I'm not a lawyer, but in my view, we must be very careful not to treat arson as terrorism. Because I can tell you not too long ago, there is a family. All the family members were burnt. Somebody locked them from outside, dosed petrol into the building, burnt all of them, and the reason was a land dispute. I don't think they were charged with arson. Because, and I don't want to get into the legal, nitty-gritties, because we may not be very competent here to deal with them. But then I had my colleagues talk about mass destruction. When you are talking about terrorism, it must be about mass destruction. Well, I do not want to delve into those matters because of the rule of sub judice. But we must ask ourselves also some hard questions when we are talking about, because this debate, I'm sure, is arising from the fact that there are some young people who are members of DCP party, not just members, officials of DCP party, that have been charged under the Anti-Terrorism Act because of having, according to the matter in court, of having torched Kikuyu police station. We don't want to discuss the merits or demerits, of course, but there are things that people have been asking themselves. Mawego police station was also torched. Nobody has been arraigned before court on anti-terrorism charges. So, because those are valid concerns, and those are the questions that when I raise, they are saying I'm departing and politicizing it. Now, so in this particular police station in Kikuyu, police had removed their vehicles before it happened. I mean, now personal vehicle was destroyed in Kikuyu police station. There was no response from the police in Kikuyu police station when it was touched. No attempt at responding to the impending attack and the attack itself. There was no police officer to respond. I mean, and so when we start saying that some of these things must not be politicized, when there is politics, we'll say there is politics. But anyway, the planners, I heard Honorable Lotte say that the planners of these attacks, the court will determine whether they are terrorist attacks or not, or they are just attacks. He has said that the planners are known. He should, as a responsible citizen, a leader in this country, the member for Kacheliba, present that information to the police. And the police then should take action against the planners. But we have had issues here with people. I don't know whether it was Honorable Mtunga who talked about, I cannot remember very well, who talked about people trying to, to see to it that you bring regime change through these attacks on police stations, through breakage of, people's supermarkets. Because according to the description that Lotte read here, it's somebody doing something to coerce government to do something. So maybe they may need to explain to me or to help me understand how when some crooks, whom by the way, the police never took any action against, because, and I want to challenge them, any one of the people killed over the last 1 month during these protests, anyone who was killed, who was shot dead because they were found, breaking into a supermarket or somebody's business. All of them are innocent people, So the breakage of these supermarkets happened during the day, and there was no attempt. There was no response by the police. Okay. So these are the things we are saying we must not hide. So we are saying, let us be very careful not to invoke laws made to arrest some very serious criminal acts of terrorism, and invoke them and charge our citizens. And I'm not trying to say that anybody breaking a supermarket is not a criminal. That's a criminal. But police should take action. But we must be careful not to, again, respond, like I started by saying, against responding to mosquito bites with a hammer.
And that's the question, Senator Okech, I'm asking. It's the intention of the Prevention of Terrorism Act and what police are using it for. Because we are not devoid of laws, including the Public Order Act, the Penal Code and others, to charge people with different crimes, including murder and arson and others, before courts of law. Your party, ODM, has been known to have and hold demonstrations, some which have turned violent and have resulted in the destruction of property to some extent. Does that equate